The IRS Office of Taxpayer Advocacy, they just released a really interesting press release. And the headline said, "A major refund opportunity, but taxpayers must act to protect their rights." In fact, they went on to say that this could impact millions of people, right? Millions of people might be impacted and owed a tax refund, but the IRS is not going to send you a check automatically, and they're not going to remind you. And to get the refund, you have to file one form by July 10th. In fact, one of the lines that really jumped out at me in this press release was this. It said, "This situation highlights a core concern I have." And this is from the director of the Taxpayer Advocacy Division at the IRS. They said, "This situation highlights a core concern I have raised repeatedly. When relief exists, but is difficult to access, taxpayers, especially those without representation, are at risk of losing benefits." So let me walk you through exactly what happened, who it impacts, and what you'll need to do. And I'm going to try to keep this as simple as possible. But first, my name's Kevin Lum. I'm a certified financial planning professional, and this channel is dedicated to helping 1 million people retire without worry. Now, before I talk about the refund, I need to talk about the Office of Taxpayer Advocacy. Because honestly, until a few years ago, I had no idea that this office existed. And I'm guessing that many of you had no idea either. In fact, for a lot of you watching this video, the most interesting thing you're going to learn is about the Office of Taxpayer Advocacy, because you might not qualify for this potential refund, but you need to know about this office. So let me give you some background. Inside the IRS, right, inside the government, there's an independent office called the Taxpayer Advocate Service. Think of it as your voice at the IRS, right? You have a representative at the IRS. It's an independent organization within the agency, and its job is to help taxpayers when the normal system breaks down, and also to flag when the IRS is getting something wrong, like this press release they released. And the person who runs it is the National Taxpayer Advocate, Aaron Collins. And by law, Aaron Collins reports directly to Congress without the IRS or Treasury being allowed to edit what she says, which is why you get this blog post. And essentially, this office does 4 things. Individual cases, right? If you get in trouble and you cannot get anyone at the IRS to help you, you can go to the Office of Taxpayer Advocacy and they will help advocate for you. If you qualify, you're assigned a personal advocate who listens to your situation, understands what needs to happen, and then in theory stays with you until the problem is resolved. This service is free and there's no income limits on eligibility. Now, you may be eligible to use this office if you're facing economic harm, right? Maybe from a tax bill or significant costs, or you've had a delay, right? You've been trying to solve an issue for more than 30 days and you can't get this solved. You can call a number to get access to the Taxpayer Advocacy Office, but often people go through their congressional office to get help, right? So you call your congressperson, you say, "Look, the IRS is not taking care of this problem. I've been fighting this for a while. Can you help?" And often they will connect you to this office. In fact, they will reach out to the office for you and help make sure that the ball gets rolling. Now, that's the good news. The good news is this office exists and it can help you. The bad news is the IRS is currently significantly understaffed, which some of you are like, "That's not a bad thing. There's no one at the IRS. Maybe I won't get caught if I'm cheating on my taxes." But ultimately, we want a well-staffed IRS because it is in our best interest, because if you are a law-abiding citizen and you are trying to get something resolved right now, it's next to impossible to get the help you need. But there is this office. So the first thing they do is they help individuals like you. Second of all, they protect taxpayer rights, right? Third, they report to Congress. They send an annual report on the state of the IRS each year, letting Congress know what's happening, how things are going. The other thing they do is systemic advocacy. So beyond individual cases, this office identifies patterns where lots of taxpayers are hitting the same problem, and it pushes the IRS to fix the underlying problem, which is what brings me to the topic of this video. The director of this agency, Aaron Collins, flagged that there is a tax law that says when a federal disaster is declared, your filing and payment deadlines get automatically postponed for the length of the disaster plus 60 days. So however long the disaster was plus an additional 60 days. Now, the COVID-19 federal disaster declaration was in effect from January 2020 all the way till May 2023. So that's about 3.5 years. And then you get to add another 60 days onto the end of that. And you end up about July 10th, 2023. So there was a court case, Kwong versus the United States, and they looked at the law and they reasoned if deadlines were postponed for that entire disaster window, then returns and payments due inside that window weren't actually late, which means the IRS shouldn't have charged penalties or interest on them. So for 3.5 years, a court found that those penalties and those interests may never have been owed in the first place. Now, you might be thinking, Kevin, look, this is not applicable to me. I always pay on time. This isn't me. Maybe. And that could be true. But what they believe and what Aaron Collins at the Office of Taxpayer Advocacy believes is that this reaches a huge cross-section of individuals, small business owners, trusts, and estates. Basically, anyone with a federal tax obligation due between January 20th, 2020 and July 10th, 2023 rather. And here's the one situation that applies particularly to retirees. Now, lots of people watch this channel, not just retirees, but a lot of our audience is retired or is planning on retiring. And the one segment that you might want to pay attention to is estimated tax penalties. If you're retired and your income is lumpy, right? You get a big capital gain 1 year and an IRA withdrawal 1 year, and maybe you did a Roth conversion, you know how easy it is to get dinged with an underpayment penalty, right? You maybe didn't take out enough or didn't make an estimated tax payment. So a lot of you watching have paid one of those penalties. And if you paid one of those penalties on a quarter that fell inside of that COVID window, you may qualify for a refund. Same goes for any late filings or late payment penalties and the interest that came with it. Now, there are some gray areas. If you were already behind before the pandemic started, it gets a bit murkier. The rules don't hand you a windfall on old debts. And also, the IRS does not agree with the court's conclusion. So the court has said one thing, the Office of Taxpayer Advocacy is trying to let us know, but the IRS is appealing. They have not started issuing refunds, and honestly, this could end up taking years to resolve. So for a lot of us, even if we do qualify, it's not worth the hassle. But if you're interested, keep watching. Now, what you should know is the IRS is appealing this. They have not started issuing refunds, and this could take years to resolve. So for some of you, if you owed $10, like I think I had a $10 penalty, I have no idea what it was for. They said I underpaid by $10. It was from during this period. I don't know what I did wrong, but I thought it was worth writing a check for $10 rather than trying to figure it out. I think it was like from 21 or 22. I have no idea where the mistake was, but I was like, it's $10. I'm going to send the check in because it's easier than trying to figure out what went wrong. Now, like I said, the IRS, they have not agreed to this. They are still pushing back on this. And so because of this, you should expect a denial letter initially. I'm going to tell you in a minute what you need to do. But when you go through this process, you're going to get a denial letter. This is standard procedure and not an indication that your filing was incorrect. There's so much uncertainty in all this. But, and this is key, you don't have to win the argument today. You just have to get in before the door closes. Now, the form you need to file is Form 843, a claim for refund and request for abatement. There are two situations. If you've already paid the interest and penalties, you're asking for a refund. If it was assessed but you haven't paid, you're asking for an abatement. You're going to use the exact same form. Now, because the law is still uncertain, most people in this situation will file what's called a protective claim. That's the move that preserves your right while the appeal plays out. So here's the simple version of how it works. So first, pull your IRS transcripts. You can view them in your IRS online account to see whether you were charged any eligible penalties or interest in that window. The advocate posted instructions and an example for exactly this. I will put a link to their post in the description. When reviewing your transcript, look specifically for these transaction codes to identify penalties. TC 166, which is a late filing penalty, TC 276, which is a late payment penalty, TC 196, interest assessed, and TC 176, underpayment penalty for estimated tax penalty or estimated taxes. So do that first. Second, on Form 843, you write a specific phrase. You've looked at your transcripts. You actually have been charged. You qualify. Get Form 843, download it, And you're going to write a specific phrase across the top, something like protective refund claim pursuant to Kwong case. That language is what turns it into a protective claim. And here's where it starts getting a little frustrating. Form 843 cannot be filed electronically. It has to go on paper by mail. So you send it by certified mail, return receipt requested. So you have proof you filed it before the July 10th deadline. If a claim gets lost in the IRS's paper pile, that receipt can help provide protection. Number 4, file a separate Form 843 for each tax year you qualified in, right? A 2020 claim and a 2021 claim are 2 filings, not 1. Be sure to include a note in the other text space on the form specifically referencing Kwong protective filing to ensure it is categorized correctly. And the deadline for most people, underline this, the deadline is July 10th, 2026. So if you think you qualify, you want to go ahead and get on this right away. And here's where I put my compliance hat on. I got to give you a disclosure. I'm a certified financial planning professional. I am not a tax attorney, and I am not your CPA. The advocate herself said in the blog post, the press release, that is meant to raise awareness, not to give legal advice. This is a complex, evolving legal issue. So if there's any real money on the table for you, this is the moment to loop in a tax professional, call your CPA, call an enrolled agent, right? There's no cost to filling out the form, but you want to get it right. Now, I know for many of you, the only thing that's interesting in this video is that there is an Office of Taxpayer Advocacy. You're like, I don't owe any money. But for some of you, this could be a significant sum of money. And this is how the tax system actually works. The relief is often available to everyone, but it's not automatic. So even when there is something owed to you, you often have to advocate for yourself. You have to know about it and you have to act. The IRS is not going to remind you. So who ends up benefiting? And this is exactly what this paper, this blog post said, the people with representation, right? The people with advisors, the people with great CPAs, the well-advised. And the people without representation, often those who could use the money the most, they never hear about it and they lose the right entirely. Now, this isn't really my normal content. I don't get into the minutia of tax law and talk about Form 843. There's probably tax experts who are going to post in the comments telling me I'm getting something wrong. But I thought it was important to raise awareness about this because I agree with the director of the Taxpayer Advocacy Office that often it's the people who have the most means, who have great teams, who end up knowing about these things. And the rest of us, we have no idea what's going on, right? The gap between the informed and the unaware is really the whole reason that I make these videos. Because being a diligent, responsible saver isn't enough. The people who keep the most of their money are the ones who stay informed and who plan and are strategic in their financial life. Okay, I have gone on long enough. Just to recap, if you paid an IRS penalty or interest on something between January 2020 and July 2023 that includes estimated tax penalties, you may have a refund coming your way. It's not guaranteed. The IRS doesn't want to pay it, and it could take a while, but the move to protect yourself is pretty small, right? If it's going to be a significant amount of money, go ahead and file Form 843, the right to protective claim language on top, certified mail, 1 per tax year, on or before July 10th, small cost, pretty easy. I mean, it's annoying, but in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty easy. And see what happens. Okay, I am going to leave it there. If you're watching this, you're like, boy, I wish I had somebody to help me kind of sort through all the complexities of retirement and tax planning and all the other things in life. My day job is I run a financial planning firm, and I would be honored if you would consider working with our firm. You can schedule a free strategy call with one of our team members using the link in the description below or using this QR code. And if you're one of those people who are like, I don't want to hire a financial advisor, that's great. I have hundreds of videos, or I don't know, 160 videos that is going to help you get started on your financial planning journey. And just to get you started, I have an entire playlist on tax planning. And if you've got extra time, you can start watching that now.